Hello and welcome to the tutorial on using map tiles in Photoshop. In this little tutorial I'm going to show you how to do a quick little map build using map tiles and the basics of the Photoshop interface. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is set up your canvas. Now I use the 180 pixel square map tiles. So what you want to do is work out, how many squares you want your map to be. So for this example, let's just say we're going to use a 6 square map. So you do 180 times by 6, and that tells us that our map has to be 1080 pixels wide. So we just come up to in Photoshop, we go File, New. Ignore this area over here. We're just concerned about this section here. So we want to have a width of 1080, and we'll make it a square. We'll make it a square map, so we'll go 1080 here again. Leave this as pixels. Orientation doesn't really matter because it's a square at the moment, but obviously if you wanted it to be if you're doing a different size picture, landscape or portrait. Leave artboards unchecked. Leave it at 72 dpi, and pretty much the rest is fine. So we just go create. Now here is your map will appear, and it'll be blank straight off. So the first thing you want to do is you want to put in some guides. So we go to View, New Guide Layout. So we want to have columns and rows checked. So we set 6 by 6. So we want to have 6 columns and 6 rows, and we want them to be 180 pixels for each. So with that set, you can see our guides in the background. We just go OK, and now our canvas is set up. The reason why we do that is so that as we place down each map tile, they snap into place on the guides. I'll show you that in just a moment. So that's setting up the basics of our map or our canvas that's going to be our map. Now, the next thing I usually do is I set up some folders in Photoshop. So you want to come over here to your layers palette. The layout may be a little different. This is just a standard layout that I use. Your layout may be a little bit different, but you're probably going to have the layers palette somewhere in there as well. So you just go to the layers palette, down to bottom of the layers palette, you'll find the little folder icon. Create a folder, and name it Walls. That's where you put your wall overlays. Then create another folder, call it Floor. That'll be where you put your floor. So usually you put that below the walls, and you just move the folders by just clicking and dragging, and you'll see the little blue line is where they're going to end up. So we want to have our walls over the top of our floor. Then what I usually also add is I use a ground, and that could be our ground texture, because our floors, oops, put that inside that folder, because we want the ground to be the lowest, the floor on top of the ground, the walls on top of the floor. So with those folders set up, we're pretty much ready to start. So the next thing I do is I set up a window where I can easily get to my my map tiles. Now for this demo, I'm using the Stonework map tile set. And if you join up to Patreon and become a member, you get pretty much everything that I've ever created. So for example, all of my map tiles are in this folder. So here's all the map tile sets that I've ever created. So for this example, I'm going to use the Stoneworks map tile set, which is the latest one. And I'm going to use the the 180 pixel tiles. So let's start off with the floor. So I'll go with the pink checker floor tiles. Here they are. Now the reason why I have this little window floating here is so that I can easily drag and drop. So I can just sort of like go, I'm going to use this one. I can just drag and drop from there to here. And as you see, boop, when I release, it pops up as a placed graphic. So you can just hit enter, which will, accept that you've placed it. Or there's a little tick up the top here, like I'll just place another one. So if I place this one down, you'll see there's a little tick up here. It's basically just an acknowledgement that you've placed a graphic and that do you want to place it. So you can hit enter or that little tick. Now the reason why I use this window is so that I can quickly Alt-Tab between them. And that way it makes map building really quick. So what you want to do is you want to grab the tiles that you placed, drag them down to the folder where you want them to be. So let's just put this one. So see how they're snapping to the guides? There we go. So it's just a case of grabbing the next one out, Alt-Tabbing, grab the next one, lock it down. And the tool I'm using to move them is, you'll see over here, is the top one, this little move tool here. And what it allows you to do is just move them around and they'll snap into place. So just quickly plonk them down. So let's just say we're going to have a room here. So as you can see, each layer is being placed one on top of the other inside this folder, which makes it really easy to control them. What I also like to do is I also like to give the folders colors, which really helps to sort of quickly identify things. So you just right click on it, in the little pop-up menu, come down the bottom here, just pick a color. So they're all orange now. So let's put some walls down. Let's go for stone wall A. So here are all our little tile pieces for stone wall A. So let's put down, start down the corner. Now I'm going to need to put him into the walls folder. Color, make it yellow. So with it in there, we just drag it. There we go. It all snaps into place. Zoom in. I like to zoom in when placing doors and other tricky bits. So you just use the magnifying glass and just zoom in a little bit. It's personal preference, I just like to zoom in just a little bit. Flooring placed here. The shadows look a bit off, but we'll fix that up in a moment. Now, if you want to quickly move around the canvas, like what I'm doing here, click this little hand button, or you can just hold down Shift on your keyboard. It switches to the hand button. You can just quickly move around. So let's do that. Let's just say this is going to be a hallway here, so let's put in the other side of the hallway. because the map tiles all sort of fade to a white edge on the center of the wall, it can be a bit hard to place them when the background's white. So for example, if I turned off the background, I can now see the snap a bit better. But that's where the snap comes in handy. Let's go back and put some floor in, so, whoops. Let's put the slate floor. So I'm just going to come back and switch to my floor. So I just select so that each tile gets placed into the floor folder. I'm just selecting the top layer within the floor. And just notice here, there's like looks a bit odd. So if I just, I'll just hide the guides. So you can go view, extras, which hides the guides. Doesn't delete them, just hides them. See how it's just a straight edge? Sometimes that's fine. Like if you're going to put a door over the top of that, that'll hide that. But I like to put edges in. So here's this little edge. Snap it in place there. So it makes it look a little bit better, a little bit cleaner. It's like it's actually meant to look like that. And also looks like that this room's got a little bit of a step down to it. So let's just say this is going to be the front of our little building. Put it on grass or something. So we'll give it some steps. So I'm going to turn the extras back on, so you can either just go view extras, or you can go Control H. I usually just go Control H and it just turns them back on. So that way I can see where everything's snapping into place. Now let's just give it a bit of a where is it? I can't find it. There it is. Bring it around here a bit. Actually, I might make it a bit longer. So if you want to quickly select, without sort of having to go through here, select, let's just say I want to specifically select this tile, but I don't know which one of these it is. You can just hold your mouse over the top of it, right click on it, and it'll tell you the things that are right underneath that position. So we can see that there's the folder, here's the tile, that's the one we picked. But I want to pick this one, move him over there. Let's put another one of these down. One piece coming around here. There we go. Looks a little nicer. Then let's just say this hallway continues off here. Another room in here. So let's do that. Let's or actually let's put a staircase in there. So this is how you do staircases. So we're going to want that. Let's just say it's going down. Then we want this one. Now the thing about staircases is you want the shadows to look right. So this one that I've just placed down, I want it to actually be below this one that this one here, which I've just placed down. I actually want it to be below this one because at the moment you can see it's actually over the top of it. So all you do is you just change the layer order. So now this one is above it. So that way our shadowing will be right. Let's get the. So we want this one. Again, we need that to be below those two. So it goes down there. There we go. Now it looks a bit odd. What we need to do is put some more tiles below it. So we go back here. So again, I want these to be below. So we shift it down. There we go. So our staircase sort of starts here, then goes down this way. And fill in this with a few blocks. There we go. So now I'm going to switch back over to doing some walls. So what we want to use so this is going to be the end of our staircase. And let's use these special bits to set these corners. So there we go. So there's that area there. Just going to give it some cornerstones. So that's to say the hallway continues off down here, goes to another map. Yeah. Now what we need to do is put our external walls on, but before I do that, I'm going to put some ground out here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip back over. Through my collection of map tiles, go up to the very first one I did, so the dungeon map tile set 1, and I'm going to go looking for my grass tiles. grass into my ground folder. Let's just make it green. And start down here. Notice that I do a fair amount of my building zoomed in quite a lot. It's really, you know, personal preference how you sort of set it up. And this is the basic method that I use in pretty much all graphics apps. Can't start to see, this is why I sort of do all my building in folders, so that way my walls and my floors are above my ground, so I can just quickly plonk stuff in. It doesn't take too long to build up a map, and you can be quite granular in how you put things together. Like, for example, one thing I'll do here is I'll leave a space here. So what I'll do is I'll put a path coming out there, but I'll come back to that. Dirt pile in. So there's all that grass. Let's just say we want to have a path here. So where is footpath tiles? So here's our footpath. That's, you know, we're getting pretty close to being finished, so let's just put the rest of our walls on. So it's going to go back to stonework map tiles, stone walls A. Let's start putting the rest of the walls on. So again, I've got to go and pop it into the crew folder. Whoops, all these went in the wrong place, so pop them down in there. There we go. So go back up to here. Pick that one up. So I'll just do down here. And you'll notice that I sort of alternate. I try and go through all the different versions of the wall sections, so you notice that each wall section looks a little different. So that way it sort of it breaks it up. It doesn't look the same throughout the entire thing. Go around the front. So I'll come back and put the cornerstones on there. Just continue through here. One thing you might have noticed, I haven't gotten into the habit that when I put them down I should be pressing enter, but I'm so used to just clicking that little tick up the top and not pressing enter. So what I'm going to do is put the corners on here. Where Where's the other side? So what I'm going to do is put a curved piece on this side. And this one here. There we go. So you'll see how I put a curved piece here, but I put a square piece here. The reason I put the square pieces here is that it meshes up better when I put doors on, and I'll do that right now. Sometimes what I'll do as well is if I've got special features like doors or tokens and stuff, I'll make a folder just for those over the top of everything. Let's just call it blue. Here we go. So let's just pop this door here. So now I want to spin it around. So what can you? In order to spin it around, because obviously that way we want the hinge on the inside. So what you can do is you can go edit, transform. Now you can flip it, or you can rotate it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to flip it vertically, and that just flips it like that. And we just nudge it into place. There we go. So you can see there. Like what you could do as well is let's pop it into the features folder. So if you want, like it may look a little bit weird there at the moment. So if we move it down so that so that the features folder is between our between our walls and floors. So that way we've got our wall shadows, as you can see, our wall shadows over the top of the door, which makes it sort of look as if it belongs in that place. So let's put a different door here. Let's put this one slightly ajar. So come along and we go rotate clockwise. There we go. So I'm just gonna move it up above so I can see where it's gonna end up. Yep, get it about there. Pop it down in our features folder. So that's where our doors are. Now one extra thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put into my walls folder a window. So here's our window. And there's a barking dog. And we just move it and we just put it in place like that. There's our window. So let's just say we want another one. So let's just counterclockwise. And there we go. And that's pretty much how you, oops, just zoom it back. That's how you do a map. Pretty quick, pretty easy. In order to save it out, oops, I forgot to do one thing. I need to put a cornerstone there. Let's put that one there. So there we go. So that's our map done. So what we want to do is we want to save a copy. So I'm just going to save it on the desktop. Sample. And you just want to save it as a PSD. So that way, a Photoshop PSD. So that way you can edit again later. And then when you want to use it on the desktop, or sorry, on the virtual tabletop for a game, you want to save a copy. So you go export, save for web legacy. Save it as a JPEG medium. That way it's a JPEG. It's a pretty small size file. So if I save this one, it's only 186k in size, so that's easy, good. Anyway, thank you for watching this tutorial. I hope you have fun building your maps with map tiles in Photoshop, and that's basically how I do it. Don't forget to subscribe, and go and visit us on Patreon, or subscribe on Patreon. It's your support that helps me to continue funding the ability to do this. Thank you very much.